afternoon, everyone. It is 3:15, so it's time to start our teacher cohort. Today, we are covering attendance and membership with you. So if you are here with us, you likely are working with students who are kindergarten and younger, but if you are beyond that age, I commend you for wanting to learn about this anyways. So starting off, what is membership? So membership is the number of hours that a child is scheduled to receive special education services or to participate in regular education programs, which is written in the IEP or FSP. Generally, the amount of time that the child receives direct or indirect services may also be counted in membership. So overall, membership is what you're scheduling. That's what's written into your IEP. The next thing that goes along with that is average daily membership, or ADM. This number is calculated from a student's membership, and it's the basis for your state aids. So you may work with ADM, but if you don't, your MARS people definitely do, and that is how we determine how much revenue each student is actually getting from their membership. ADM can be calculated for evaluation only, IFSPs or IEP minutes only, or in a combination, and we do so by dividing these hours by the number 825. So generally, the amount of time that the child is served, like I said, direct and indirect, may count towards membership. But part of this is whether or not we can stack services if there's more than one provider, or if we can't. So in the first scenario, we're talking about direct services. These cannot be stacked. An example of this is if an ECSE teacher and the OT work together with a student for 1 hour. In this case, only 1 hour can be counted for membership. Otherwise, when you're looking at indirect services, they can be stacked. In this situation, if an ECSE teacher and the OT have a conversation together for 15 minutes regarding the student's programming, they can then count 30 minutes towards membership. That's 15 minutes from the ECSE teacher and 15 minutes from the OT. When we think about membership time, that does not count travel time that is generated to service the child. Time spent with paraprofessionals to generally support the program does not generate additional membership either. This grid is a supplement from MDE that shows you when you have students attending for different weekly memberships, how much revenue they're actually generating for programs. It goes without saying that membership and attendance is necessary and important, but sometimes it's also nice to put a picture with it so you're understanding how much revenue it actually does generate for schools. So this will be available online, and it is available on MDE if you would like to take a further look. Membership can be claimed in a general education program if 3 criteria are met. First is that the IEP team determined the program was the child's least restrictive environment. Second, the amount of time the child is attending the general education program is documented on the IEP, or this would be the service grid or LRE, definitely making sure that it's on there somewhere. Typically, we do put it in the service grid. And last is that your ECSE program is expending resources to allow the child to attend the preschool program at no cost to the family. So this would be a student attending full days in preschool because we know as a team the child has social needs, and this would be their least restricted place for service. So we are giving them tuition-free service in preschool. These are scenarios where we are going to claim the membership for that on top of whatever the direct service would be. Next is attendance. Attendance is your membership minus your absences. So these are the hours that the students were scheduled to attend, but actually participated in the planned instructional activities. An example of this is in September, Marissa was scheduled for 14 days of preschool with 180 minutes of direct time. She was gone 1 day. So to calculate the attendance on that, we would take 13, 14 minus my 1 absence, times 3 equals 39 attendance hours. Attendance cannot exceed your membership minutes. So when you are putting this in, whether you do that daily, weekly, or monthly, you always want to make sure that your attendance doesn't get bigger than the number of membership you have. Next is withdrawal. After 15 consecutive days of absence during July 1st to June 30th, you are going to look at temporary, sometimes permanent withdrawal from MARS. Examples of times that you would withdraw would be a center-based student receives 4 days per week and is absent all week. That student missed 5 of the 15 consecutive days. So if that student went on and missed the next 2 weeks of service as well, you would then look at temporary withdrawal. A home visit student with a visit 1 time per week is absent for 3 consecutive weeks. They have missed 15 of 15 days. So even if the services aren't every single day, you're still counting the amount of days that pass between service. And the third example is a home visit is scheduled every other week. The student must be withdrawn 1 week after the 2nd consecutive absence. The district does not take action to provide a visit prior to the next scheduled visit. That means that you would then withdraw the student. So if you've missed 2 consecutive weeks of service, or in this case, this is 2 a month, you've missed the second one, you want to try and make that up so that you don't do a temporary withdrawal, but you could, of course, do that. It's just a little bit more paperwork and you want to make sure that it's documented. Next is attendance and membership as it relates to evaluations. So evaluation hours. Each hour of evaluation generates 1 hour of membership. When multiple staff evaluate children simultaneously for 1 hour, each staff person contributes an hour to the child's attendance and membership. An example of this is if one staff person may work directly with the child while another staff person provides eligible evaluation concurrently. This might look like obtaining information from the parent or guardian, having language samples, etc. Both staff persons' time may count towards the student's eligible evaluation hours. So in this case, it can be stacked. Additional time includes meeting with parents to obtain evaluation info for young children, time spent writing the evaluation report or evaluation summary for an IFSP, or up to 2 additional IFSP or IEP writing hours. The next thing we're going to talk about is SPED service hours. This is the third thing that's calculated. So what are SPED service hours? They are direct and indirect time of teachers and other certified and licensed professionals. Who do we track this for? This is for our ECSE students and our kindergarten students. An example of this is in September, Carrie was scheduled for 14 days of preschool with 180 minutes of direct time and 10 minutes of indirect time. The membership for this would be 14 times 3, which equals 42 hours, and the total SPED hours would be 42, which is membership, plus 2.3, that's your indirect time, times 14 equals, or that's your 10 minutes times 14, equals 44.3 hours of SPED service. Looking at absences. Absences are going to change what you're putting in for attendance and membership at times. If you have an unlicensed sub who is providing service to students, this does not generate special ed service hours. If you have a student absence, this can only generate indirect special ed service hours. You would not count the direct time because the student didn't participate in it. And finally, if school is canceled, this also does not generate special ed service hours. So how do we track attendance and membership? MDE does not require districts to use a specific platform to track attendance and membership, but a common thing we do is use sped forms for it. We have that option, and we also have a couple districts who use different spreadsheets that give you formulas to spit out the same numbers that we would be using if we were on sped forms. So let's go over a couple of scenarios of calculating attendance, membership, and special ed service hours. In scenario 1, Lauren attends school, a school-based preschool, 4 times per week for 3 hours per day. There are 144 days of school. Lauren receives 30 minutes of special education instruction each day. The ECSE teacher and preschool teacher meet 10 times each year for 30 minutes. That is indirect time. So calculating membership, we have 432 classroom hours. We get that number by taking the amount of school days, 144, times 3 hours per day, which is what the student attended for or was planned to attend for. Next, we add 5 hours of indirect special education services. This is the 30 minutes times 10 sessions that the ECSE teacher met with the preschool teacher. Our membership number is 437 hours. Next, we can look at our special ed service hours. The ECSE teacher was meeting with Lauren 30 minutes every session. We get 72 special ed hours because we take 144 instructional days times 3 hours, 30 minutes per day, and then we add 5 hours of indirect time, which gives us 77 special ed hours. For attendance in this case, Lauren was a fantastic student and she did not miss any school. So she has 432 hours of attendance. Next scenario is Jenny is a 15-month-old. She attends daycare for 30 hours per week. The IFSP documents 50 one-hour visits from the ECSE teacher and 20 one-hour visits from the occupational therapist. 5 one-hour visits from the physical therapist will be provided jointly with the ECSE teacher. All services take place at the child care center. Beyond this, the ECSE teacher documents 26 one-hour face-to-face sessions with parents. For membership, Sorry about that. So for membership, we have 20 visits from the OT, 5 visits from the ECSE teacher jointly with the physical therapist, and 45 visits from the ECSE teacher just themselves. This equals a total of 50 counting our joint visits. We also add 26 sessions with the parents conducted by the ECSE teacher. In total, this gives us 96 membership hours. Remember that we can't stack joint hours in membership, so that's why we're looking at the 5 hours of PT with ECSE teacher, and then we're also looking separately at the 45 sessions. To look at special ed service hours, we have the same 20 visits from OT, we have the 5 visits from the ECSE teacher jointly with the physical therapist, and we also have 50 visits from the ECSE teacher and 26 at home. Since we can stack in special ed services, we do that, and we get 101 special ed service hours. So that is a lot of information, and all of those scenarios are available online and right in Procedure 6 with MDE. Do you have any questions right off the bat?